For those who were here last time, you heard that we're really shifting our program this year. So while the mornings will be traditional camp with all of our merit badges going, in the afternoon we're going to be mostly closing down ecology, handicraft, scoutcraft, and pushing the scouts who have normally done those merit badges in the afternoon down on the waterfront, and we're expanding our waterfront activities and staff to have a really great time. So if your boys like to do things like this, and like this, and like this, and many other things on the waterfront, we think that's going to be a cool and refreshing and fun place to spend our afternoons. So I want to ask another question of the group here. How many have scouts from their troop going to Camp Barstow? How many are Cub Scouts representing packs? So Cub Scout packs, we encourage you to join our resident camp, and there's a card on the table with the dates. We'd like to get as many Cub Scouts out there this summer. For everyone else in the room, you're going somewhere else to camp this summer, and that's fine. That means you're either with a troop that rotates locations each summer, or you're with a troop that goes to the same place or goes away every summer. And what I'd like to ask each of you is to consider and think about how you could send some of your scouts to Camp Barstow this summer. And as I've talked with scoutmasters and talked with members of different troops, we have a range of different things going on, and there's some that always rotate, and we have boy-led troops that the boys are voting to go other places. I have great respect for that. Our goal is to become the southeastern camp that is the destination for all the troops in Camp Barstow, or all the troops in Indian Waters Council, and many troops from other councils. To get there, we need your participation. You have boys in your troop that are not able to go because of the dates that your troop is going to camp. All of our weeks of camp, we have a Baden-Powell troop that allows boys to come without their troop. We'll provide the scoutmasters, and they can come and do all the activities that we have on our schedule. You have other boys that may be old enough that they say, well, I don't want to go to summer camp this year, but we've got all sorts of high adventure that we're running out of Camp Barstow on the water. Each of our high adventure programs this year is on the water. And if you have boys in particular that like to fish and have never caught a 24 to 30 inch striper and would like to, we provide that opportunity each and every week of camp this year. Just the last thought to think of, as I've talked with some scoutmasters, they've said, well, we want to come to Barstow, but it's not perfect yet. And we're doing a lot of things. I think you'll be very excited about what we're doing this summer. There is no perfect camp out there, but we are getting very close with what our staff is going to bring this summer. We encourage all of you to help participate in getting better, and I'd like to have you join us. I'm going to hand off to Jason Spangler, and I think you will be excited. Jason joined us by video last time, and he's here to tell you more.
Thank you very much. Steve Spurrier had a funny little quip he used to use. He talked about the time, before the football season kicked off. He called that talking season. And some of you might remember him having his, going to the SEC meetings and all that, and having the talking season where he talked about the team, and they talked about how great they were going to be, but really nobody knows how the Gamecocks are going to turn out. And that's kind of where I am tonight. It's a hard position to be in. This is talking season for us at Camp Barstow. We know that we have a lot of work to do to win back your trust, to, as David said, win back some of those in-council troops that have not been to Barstow in several summers. So when I was brought on board to be the camp director, the first thing I did in my meeting with Doug and with David was I asked them, well, who's coming back on staff? Because I know that my job, the single thing I can do to help turn this around is recruit the best staff possible. And so we did have several key area directors last year that wanted to come back, and in just a second I'll show you a slide with some of those names. So the first thing I did was get on the phone and start calling up old friends, people that I'd worked with on camp staff over the years, sort of calling in some favors, saying, hey, when do you want to come back and be on staff? So let me introduce Chris McDuffie and ask him to come up here with me. This year's program director is Chris McDuffie, and you might not believe this, but he's actually a year older than me. He told me that his daughter found a picture at their house of Chris passing an Indian bonnet to me back in 1990. So Chris was my lodge chief growing up, and we're both from the same hometown, from Sumter, and then I was elected lodge chief after him, and he passed me the bonnet. So one of my first calls was to Chris to see if he would come and be the program director. He's teaching over at Heathwood Hall here in Columbia, and he was thrilled to come back to camp. And that's really what I've tried to do, is find people who are enthusiastic, who really want to come work on camp, because if we have the right attitude and a lot of experience, then everything else I think will fall into place. So let me kind of introduce some of those staff people to you. I'm sure you cannot read this because I'm up here with glasses and I can hardly read it. But some of the folks are sitting over here on the table or standing up in the background. You might recognize Matt Cato. Raise your hand there, Matt. Matt Cato is going to be our first-year camper director, and that's a position he's had before. That's probably one of the most important areas in camp in terms of how many kids are coming through there. Kyle, where are you, Kyle? Kyle Corey's coming back as our shooting sports director, and Kyle's one of those guys that just worked tirelessly last year to make things happen. Bob Smith, sitting right there. Bob's going to be coming back on staff as well as for the camp commissioner. So we got a few other names. Some of you might recognize Crawford Fowler. He's going to be our ecology director. Brad Daniels is going to be the handicraft director. Dennis is going to go back to high adventure, which is really his passion. And then we have some new names. Starting at the top there, let me mention, I had a phone conversation last night with Link Graham, who some of you know, and he's going to come on board and be our coping climbing director. We're going to send him to camp school in Connecticut and get him certified, and he's going to come be our coping climbing director. So if you know Link, you know that's a great fit. You know, I'm the type of guy on the weekend, I might lay around and watch football, and Link goes climbing mountains on the weekend. So I think he's going to be a great fit for us. The people that I reached out to, I'm really, first let me say I'm really excited about the returning staff members. That's really key. But I also want to help get you enthusiastic about some of the new faces that are coming on board. I've kind of done some simple math. The new folks that are coming to Barstow this summer all together have 46 summers of experience at summer camp. And as I said in the beginning, I realize we have sort of a turnaround mission to do at Camp Barstow. The best, quickest way I know how to do that is by bringing in people, sort of like a transfusion of enthusiasm. And so the guys we brought in, some of them are here tonight. We mentioned Chris. Chris and I worked together. He worked 5 summers on camp staff. I've worked 10 summers on camp staff. Austin China, who's not here tonight, he's worked 20 summers on camp staff. He's got a few years under his belt. He's going to be our scout craft director. And then also, Chris's wife, Veronica, is going to be running the trading post. Earlier, you met Steve Eaton, who's worked 5 summers or 4 summers at summer camp. He's going to be running the dining hall. And then one that we didn't get on here, I'll add him as a late addition, is someone who's agreed to be our Baden Powell Scoutmaster. So Matt Delk, if you'll wave and stand up. Hey! Some of you might know Matt's kind of a local guy, local hero. He's got commitments with the National Guard, but other than if the Guard calls him to duty for a week here or there, he's going to be our Baden Powell Scoutmaster and be out at camp with us. So again, as David Lund expressed, if you have any scouts that maybe you might want to do that extra week, you can tell them Matt Delk's going to be their Scoutmaster. He's only been Muskogee Lodge Chief, Section Chief, you know, Purple Heart, you know, pictures of him in the museum.
Don't run the kids off.
He's a living legend, right? So Matt Delk's going to be with us on staff. I think 7 summers. He adds to my total there for 46 summers. So we've got a lot of experience coming back, and we're really focused on turning Camp Barstow around, making it a great camp. We have an application. Obviously, one thing I need to do is fill in my junior staff members. So there is an application online. We would invite you to encourage your junior staff members, the troop, you know, senior patrol leaders, all those guys, to fill in an application. On January 6th, in conjunction with the Muskogee Lodge banquet, we're going to hold interviews at Lexington United Methodist Church. And so we'll try to recruit those junior staff guys and get them interviewed. Pathfinder program, I'm just going to very briefly go through some things. As we said earlier, Matt Cato is going to be running that program. He's got a solid plan. His notebook is like this thick of his curriculum and syllabus he's going to do. So I know we have good leadership there. That's going to be taken care of. As far as the merit badge program, something that maybe David mentioned, what we've tried to do this year at Camp Barstow is strip out a lot of those picnic table merit badges. Essentially, my commitment to you is we're not going to put in the leader's guide a bunch of stuff that we're not sure if we can really pull off. So, if we put in there, we're going to teach law merit badge and, oral hygienist merit badge or whatever. If we really don't have the people who can do that, we're not going to put it in there if we can't commit, because we don't want your scout to show up and find out that the 2 merit badges he signed up for have been canceled. So what we've tried to do this year is really go back to basics. What are the camp merit badges that we can do well? And that's what you'll see reflected there. Of course, we're also doing the push to the waterfront that David already mentioned. So a lot of opportunities on the waterfront to earn merit badges. Specialty programs, obviously, with the shotgun range. Kyle, we have a fantastic shotgun range, rifle range up there. Kyle's going to be handling that. A lot of high adventure on the water. When I met with David and we talked about high adventure programs, my thought was, let's not try to do a 50-mile hike during July in the Midlands. Bad idea. Let's put everything on the water. So we're doing war canoes, sailing adventure, 50-miler down the river. All of those are going to be our high adventure programs. And again, this is a place where if you have a scout that's maybe been to Barstow, maybe he's gone to Rainy Mountain, maybe he's gone to Old Indian, well, maybe he hasn't done a 50-miler during his scouting career. Maybe he hasn't done sailing adventure on Lake Murray. Those are things that are kind of cool. I was talking to, we have a troop coming from Charlotte, actually, and I live in Charlotte. I was talking to the committee chairman, and I said, well, hey, did you know about this? And he said, oh, man, that sounds great. So he's all excited about doing war canoes one week. So we're really trying to say Lake Murray is our really unique selling perspective for Camp Barstow. We're going to try to put all of our energy into that. Fishing adventure. One of the high adventure programs is going to be offered every week is a fishing adventure. Run out of the camp where the scouts will sleep in their own Adirondack and go out every morning fishing either with our staff member or with some guides that we'll hire for that purpose. And there's a few fish in Lake Murray, by the way. Sailing adventures, we have a boating committee for the council that's been working really hard. I know Kyle's one of the guys on that boating committee, David Lund. They've been working on the boats at Camp Barstow. We're going to have, we think, 4 operational sailboats that are like 24 feet long, really nice sailboats. They've been getting donations and working on them and having weekends out there just like the Barstow Bears. And so we're going to have a great program on the waterfront. Mentioned war canoes already. If you've never been in a war canoe, it's pretty cool. You fit 20 people in there. And then the last one here is a 50-miler, a true 50-miler, something I never did as a scout. I'm kind of jealous that some other people are going to get to do it this summer. And just the last thing we talk about with Camp Barstow, and this is really what I'm sort of passionate and excited about. If you can't tell by my patches on my uniform, I didn't grow up going to Camp Barstow. I grew up going to Camp Coker from the PD Area Council. But Camp Barstow has amazing facilities. It really has facilities across the board that every camp would die to have. If you said that I could have an air-conditioned dining hall at Camp Coker, I would fall out. It's just unbelievable. But you have one at Camp Barstow. You have like $1 million dining hall that's air-conditioned. It's beautiful. It's a wonderful facility. Great asset. Adirondacks. I literally walked around on good old Camp Coker with the guy who's going to be on the council board, and he was lamenting how at the 27 Dixie Fellowship, they were at Camp Barstow, and they saw all these Adirondacks, and they were just like, oh, if we could just have these Adirondacks at our camp, they're so nice. We have Adirondacks. Every campsite, very little tintage at Camp Barstow. It's an amazing facility. Great. I'm not a hammock guy, but I'm sure you have some scouts who love hammocks. Almost every one of these Adirondack sites has a purposely built hammock shelter built on the back. Another great facility. Kids love that kind of stuff. All right. As far as calendar and registration and fees, I'll just go through this very quickly because I know you're not going to be able to read this small screen. Basically, the registration is open. The link is out there. We've shared it on Facebook. It's on the council website. You can go in there and you can reserve. $100 will hold your campsite. We have a lot of openings in every week. We're running 4 weeks of camp, and right now every week has openings. So go ahead and put your name in there. If you're interested in coming on board, sending one of your sons with Matt Delk to be Baden Powell, we can hook you up. We also have all these adventure camps are available as well. The fees, you can see basically a $100 deposit to hold your campsite. The early bird price is paid by April 1st, which, by the way, is Matt Delk and mine's birthday. I know that's kind of weird, but we share the same birthday. That's $300. After that, it's $325. The fee for high adventure programs is $400. By the way, if you didn't know, leaders can also do the high adventure program. So if you have an assistant scoutmaster that would love to spend a week fishing on Lake Murray instead of, being at home or at his regular job, tell him to come to Camp Barstow. We'll sign him up. Also, unit leader fees, all unit leaders are $75, just one simple price to make it easy. We have some discounts built in. David Lund mentioned this. If you have a scout that goes to another camp, Rainy Mountain, Old Indian, who knows where, if they come to Camp Barstow for that second week of camp this summer, we'll actually knock $100 off their price for that extra week of camp, which is a great bargain. Again, I think that's a real generous discount. So that just kind of wraps it up. We have passed out a survey to you that Velda was handing out. If you'll hand that survey in at the close here, we will give you a free scout mug. Because my wife said I need to get rid of some of these scout mugs I have. And so I literally have cases of them that I have brought. Yes?
And if anybody wants to make a deposit on camp, we need money.
All right, Velda will do that too.